killing remains a cultural shadow, a hidden practice of violence driven by shame and patriarchal systems. Director Nadine Asmar chose not to focus on the spectacle of trauma, but to challenge the very logic behind it. In her short film, The Experiment, she flips the script entirely. What happens when a wife must protect the honor of her family by killing her husband? Today, we explore that ethical contrast. We sit down with Nadine Asma to discuss the fine line between cinematic art and social action, and how her film is designed not just to be watched, but to act as a crucial experiment in driving global change.
Your appreciation of the film. It's really
I loved it. It was such a beautiful movie, Nadine. The moment I saw it, I just wanted to talk to you. It was the thing I loved the most was that it was so unapologetically stylish. I loved it. Like I just loved every scene. It was so powerful and yeah, really, really beautiful. So congratulations.
thank you so much. Thank you. It really means a lot. Thank you.
My first question is Nadine that in the movie this film it challenges our narrative which is like very common where we usually see an act of violence being committed by a man but there's this completely reversal of role. So like is this act of just an act of murder or is it an act of liberation where a wife is washing her honor by killing her husband?
I think it's first of all, it gives the impression that she is kind of liberated, but at the same time, you would feel that she is haunted, still haunted by what she did, and she's haunted by him as well. So in a way, of course, there is this liberation, but it's not inside of someone to do the same. It's more of um, doing something that is considered taboo if a woman does it when it's not considered as such if it's a man. So in a way, the film that's why it's called the experiment because we're experimenting to see how people are going to react towards that. Because I mean, you have seen, as you said, so many. You always actually see the crime of honor that is committed by men towards women, and people would be maybe they would be a bit shocked, but then
Yeah.
it's gone. There's no like it doesn't last for long, and then it's like a natural thing that is always happening. But if a woman does it, how are people going to react to that? So that was the main idea. We're like, what if we reverse the role? How are people going to perceive this going to be seen as an actual act of violence or an act of liberation? And this is at the same time what she is dealing with. Did I do the right thing? Is this going to liberate me, or is this gonna follow me for the rest of my life and something bad that I did?
Oh yeah. Movie, how do you think it's going to be received in Lebanon, where the conservative population in Lebanon? How do you think they're going to think about this movie?
I'm not sure, honestly. But even when it comes to the audience outside of Lebanon, even let's say the more open. I mean, in Lebanon, probably we're the only Arab country that is quite open, but still we also have our taboo
Yeah.
subject, just like any part of the world. I don't think it will be perceived really badly, at least because short films are seen mostly by people who are either film lovers or are intellectual people. You rarely have people who are, I would say, probably less educated in a way that would be watching short films. Unfortunately, this is not a good thing, of course. But I would say that the reaction maybe we would have some people who wouldn't receive it as a very good thing, or who wouldn't see I would say the metaphor behind it. They would just focus on the act and
Yeah.
of inciting violence. But I think for many it won't be seen as such. I have showed the film to a few friends, and it's not because they are friends or colleagues, but they never pointed out that there is something wrong in that. So so I think this is just a prototype. Of course, when it gets screened, this is when I will know. But I suppose that it won't be harsh, or I
Yeah.
hope at least. And yeah, we will see when the film will be screened, because right now we're still trying to distribute it, which is also being a bit hard. But I'm not sure if it's because of the topic itself that it's scaring people or whatever. But
Oh yeah. So like now that the film is doing this, it's traveling the international film circuit. Do you see any kind of difference in its reception when it comes to Western media and the media in Middle East?
actually, the film wasn't screened yet anywhere. Yeah, I would be very, very honest. We've been really struggling for a year to. And up
Okay.
until
Yeah.
now, I mean, there was a selection in Korea without
Okay.
screening. It was just, an internal, I'd say, judging festival. We didn't get any feedback, so we didn't really know how they are seeing the film. The only thing that I know is that like a couple of programmers saw the film, and the feedback was that, um, I mean, they had no, I would say, uh, they didn't point out anything that would be like, no, it's not a proper film show or anything. They
Yeah.
pointed out the good things, and of course, they suggested certain things to improve the others and so on. So there wasn't really a reception that would imply that the film is negatively perceived. But but again, I mean, I don't know the other programmers how they are seeing it, and eventually how the press is going to receive the film. I hope positively if it's like, as just like the
Oh,
title, an
I'm sure it's
experiment
gonna
and success.
get rave reviews. Yeah, I'm very, very sure about it. But
I
I
hope.
just I'm curious to know, like, do you have other filmmakers, friends who have made a film on any sensitive topic? And
Always.
do you think that the reaction or like the kind of way their project was received in Middle East or in Western media was very, very drastic? Like there was a drastic difference.
Um, I would say for certain topics, yes, of course,
Okay,
but in general, no. It was more like, I would say, a feedback on the aesthetic, you know, uh, how do you say it? I mean, the way, the vision of the director, the aesthetic choices,
yeah,
all of those things. It was mostly the details rather than, or probably the acting and so on. It was less about the story, unless, of course, it's about a subject that is considered, again, taboo. Um, but again, it's also a matter of who the audience is, even within the same country. So even within Lebanon, for example, we have films that deal with LGBTQ plus, for example,
okay,
subjects. They don't get screened because they cannot get the permit for it to be screened. But if they do get screened, most people won't perceive them in a negative way, because the people who are watching those films are people who are aware of of, of the community, of the LGBTQ plus community, and have friends and so on. And you have a minority that might react with in one way or another, and usually the reaction is just censorship. Other than that, there is nothing specific. As for the media, I think that in Lebanon, the media in Lebanon, at least, they would, the people who would write about the short film, they would evaluate it maybe mostly in terms of how the story was uh, was told, and also the choices and so on. And it really depends on the media outlet, but if it's a
yeah.
taboo subject, they might not uh, talk about it. And if they do, they might just mention it where they try to like that, so they won't put much spotlight. But it won't create a big chaos, like some kind of
Oh yeah.
rage against
Yeah, I think audience worldwide, because even I'm from India, and there like 20 years ago things were very different, and any movie which was considered like groundbreaking, where there was just a shocking ending or something that they were not expecting, people would have a very, I won't say extreme, but yeah, they wouldn't take it very positively. But now I think worldwide people are more open to new ideas, and I'm liking that change. It's a really good thing. That like you've been working on a lot of movies, and like you have worked on many short films, like including Copenhagen. So I want to know that do you think that short films are more effective than a proper feature film when it comes to bringing revolutionary changes, or just making people more aware about what is going on in the society, and can it bring like change of mindset?
I think, I mean, it's a big question when it comes even to cinema as a whole, because a film can, in very rare cases, it can bring a small change. Like, for example, I don't know if you're talking about the problem of education in a certain area. Let's say it might change things, especially if the people behind the film are able to work with their PR and so on, in order to ignite that change as well. Um, Actually, it might change the mind more than bring effective change like a practical one. For short term, I think it might, of course, bring that as well, just like feature film, but it's also a way of informing, for example, about certain things. You might watch something that is related to the community that don't even know anything about the Lebanese exists. And then a short film just comes to like that and might tell you a whole lot of things that you don't usually maybe get in feature film. And I think the advantage of short films, they can do that maybe much more than feature films, even though they are not being released to theaters, is that that their funding requires less money and less less requirement, even when it comes to how you are going to market it and so on.
Yeah.
For the feature film, if it's let's say a niche subject that producers or founders might think that, oh no, people are not interested in that, or this is not trendy, or this doesn't fit in a certain box of ideas or themes that we need to tackle. um, I mean, and when it comes to short films, you don't really have that challenge unless you are applying for funding that are super restrictive. So
Yeah.
it's much more open because, in a way, which is good and bad at the same time, is that it's considered as an experiment before going into the future of film world. But at the same time, short films should also be considered as, of course, as an entity, as a film on its own, as cinema. But it plays in the advantage of whatever you are selling, because you can say it more freely, and you can still make the film even though you don't have all the resources that you need. So in a way, it can probably bring more change of mind than feature film, because you have this lack of limits in a way,
Yeah.
and you are just open to say whatever you want in the way that you want. And yeah, I think this is the difference. Both of them, they ignite for something and the audience, but short film can bring more variety, let's say.
Like how your academic research has changed your approach towards feminist filmmaking or filmmaking in general. How do you depict trauma on screen?
Um, I had, I would say I got more um, aware of how how films are being made, especially when it comes to socio-political films, which is the
Yeah.
core of my research. So I was able to watch documentaries and narrative films as well, and I started to see a certain maybe prototype of how they are making, how they are telling the stories, how they are sometimes using metaphors or sometimes being too direct, maybe just repeating things on and on without anything original, or no, they are going in a very very original path and way of telling certain stories. So it helped me in understanding what we are doing in the region, what kind of stories we are telling, how we are telling them, even when it comes to which films are being funded as well. This is important. And sometimes I feel a bit, I feel a bit sad because there are certain films that that probably need to be supported and are not getting the support because they are not telling the exact same stories about conflicts and wars and so on in the region, which is something that unfortunately the, the funding institutions are expecting. So this is something that kind of proves that yeah, mostly they are looking for that. And even though this is the case, I mean, so many filmmakers were able to make after that first feature. Of course, they were able to make other films that are more diverse, but still in a way related to what is expected. They don't. Um, so so this was one of the things that that my research really opened my eyes to. And the second thing is also how they are being received by the audience, how they are being received also by the press, the critics, even by scholars. So all of that gives gives me an idea of the landscape of the industry itself, and maybe an idea of what we would be doing or we should be doing in order to have a proper industry. And also, what are the problems that we are facing, not just the funding, but in terms of storytelling itself, so the script and everything that comes after. So yeah, I try to go a bit beyond research
Yeah.
when I do that, when I do my reading, I watch the films, I analyze them, because I want to learn from the good things and the mistakes as well of other filmmakers, especially from the new generation. And because also it's very I mean, very natural to watch the films of older generations, but you don't really always focus on the new generation in the same way, the same critical eye. So yeah, that's what the advantage of it. I was able to see those films just like I would watch the film of someone who is from an older generation.
Oh, yes. Where did you find your inspiration for this movie film? Like, what inspired you to tell the story?
The actual idea of the film came as a uh, no, a trilogy, so two friends that complete each other but are also separate. So my idea was that I wanted to make a one-shot film that is completely based on dialogue,
Yeah.
and the other one was a normal film that has so many shots and it's edited and so on, but has uh, zero dialogue. It's just the experiment. And the idea was that I wanted to see in both a woman who is and the one that is silent, so the experiment, she's doing the act and living what she is doing after reversing the rules.
Yeah.
And then the second one, listening to her on why she did it until she reveals what she did, what she actually did. And I didn't do the second one. I don't know if I will do it because it's
Oh,
quite
I would
hard.
love to watch that too.
I hope I will get to do it because the dialogue should be not direct, it should be smart
Mm-hmm.
in a way. So
Yeah.
this is why I didn't do it yet. Um, but the whole idea was that, yeah, why not think of a woman that is just, you know, taking matters uh, to her own hands and
Yeah.
just committing a crime and seeing what that what how I would perceive it as as a human being, not just as a
Yeah.
woman. And then later on, when we started working on the experiment, it was more about yeah how the others are going to perceive it. We even thought of maybe we need to include a certain dialogue or a VO or something like that that would indicate why is she doing this. But then we were like, no, we're gonna just let each person, have his or her own interpretation. So in a way, we took it as really as an experiment, even for us,
Yeah.
in terms of the way it was made, and the fact that it chose to have zero dialogues and trying to convey everything through the act without actually showing the act completely. So yeah, it's from there that the idea came, and also because we've been reading for years about women being, killed by their partners, and then the partners. I mean, I'm talking about Lebanon and even elsewhere, but
Yeah.
especially in Lebanon, they were not even jailed or had a proper sentence. So we're like, okay, but I mean, this is this is so this is a very masculine way of dealing with those things. And just consider, I mean, would they do the same thing if it was a woman who killed her husband? Of course not. And this is how everything just started to, it's like a puzzle.
No, like the fact that it's been shot in black and white, like what is it representing? Is it representing her in a state of mind, or is it like the story is taking a darker turn? I want to know that, yeah. Why did you choose to shoot it in black and white?
Actually, the film was shot in colors at the beginning. It was like a
Okay. Yeah.
blue greenish kind of film. And even the first edit, even I mean, when we had the first version of the film, it was completely in those colors.
Yeah.
And then there was something really missing from there. So we tried to experiment certain things. And then my producer suggested, why not making it in black and white? We know you love the colors that you had in
Yeah.
the film, but why not try it in black and white? Also, I'm working on two films that I hope to shoot next year if we get the funding, which are both in black and white. So they were like, why don't you try with this one as a first step? And then when I put the black and white, it was like, okay, it's so obvious that this film is meant to be in black and white, not in color. It's for, of course, there is this aesthetic reason, but at the same time, it's because you're not focusing anymore on the blood. You're not focusing on if it's day or night very clearly in a way. You lose kind of the track of time in a way,
Oh,
and
yes.
at the same time, for me, black and white is not just for films that are um, that are set in I don't know, in the 50s or something like that. And it's not just an aesthetic choice, it's also a metaphorical choice because in, even in the films that I am working on, for me, they represent contrast. So
Yeah.
you have two extremes, and you have, of course, the middle. You have the extremes, which are black and white, and the middle, which is gray. So in the film, it kind of symbolizes that extreme between the violence and I would say um, liberation that we try to uh, convince people that yeah, she
Yeah.
must be liberated, she must be doing it. So it's it's either this or that, or you have the in between, which is it's wrong, but so in a way we try to show this contrast through even through the color.